Well, the power drive is gone, guys. I've replaced it with a Terrova. Let's take a look at installation and setup. Let's start out with what I have. This is the Minn Kota Terrova 55-pound thrust, 54-inch shaft. Now, I'm not going to get into all the specifics on mounting it to the boat. There's lots of videos of how to do that. In my case, the power drive that was on here, I have it on the Minn Kota's quick disconnect. So basically, that's just what I did. I just put this one right back on the quick disconnect, slides into place, locked in, it's ready to go. But I don't want to really get into that so much because that you can pick up about anywhere, and pretty much the installation is the same all the way around on all of them. I wanted to get into a few features that are different with the 2018 Terrova than you're going to find on the power drive, and even 1 year's difference. I had a power drive that was a 2017. This is now the 2018 in the Terrova, and as far as deploying and bringing back the motor, it is light years ahead of what it was last year. With the power drive, anything like this before, basically if you were on the ground, it was tough to actually deploy the motor, just to get it pulled out with the controls and everything. A little easier in the boat, but like I said, standing out here, it was tough. Now there's a big bar across here that you can easily hit with your foot, but with the new system it's got, and I believe this is spring loaded, takes the weight away from the head. And now it's just push the button and it's deployed, just like that. As far as picking it back up, push the button, it's done. That simple. I could never do that with a power drive. Now, next thing I want to cover, I put the fish finder, I went ahead and I put my transducer on the motor. I want to cover that with you just a little because the Terrova is a little bit different from what I had in the power drive. Now the first thing I should cover is the Terrova does come with the built-in sonar, but built-in sonar is sonar only. So that means it's just like I had in my old power drive that had built-in sonar. You get your standard sonar, there's no clear views, down views, side views, nothing else, just straight sonar. So in my case, I went ahead and put my transducer on. I run a Garmin fish finder, so I set the transducer here. One thing I wanted to take note that's a little different from the Terrova than if you've had a power drive on, we've got some stuff here on the front that's going to be moving. We didn't have that before. When you were bringing up the motor on the power drive, nothing in the base moved. Now that's different. You can watch these levers right here when I deploy, and you can see these levers moving. So you're going to have to be careful with your line that it does not get caught up in the motor. All right? So these levers are going to move again when I come back. Watch these levers again when I come back. You can see they're moving. You don't want to get your line in there. So what I did in my case, I'm running it right through the middle. I tried going on the outside edge. That didn't work. I come right up the middle. I've attached my cord for my transducer right here at the base. You can't go up in the shaft because that's going in tight. Then I come right up the middle and on up the shaft. You'll notice there's a small plastic deal here I bought. I found that in the electrical department at a big box store, and it's got a little clip and a sticky to put wires in. I stuck that to the end of the deal, ran the wire through just to ensure that the wire stays in the middle. As you can see, that wire will go right up there, no problems. Doesn't have any problem doing that. Slides right in and out real easy. So if you're mounting a transducer, my suggestion is go right up the middle with it. And in doing that, remember, you've got moving parts here that we didn't have before with the power drive. So you want to be careful where your line is. Now, let's talk about something else that's going to be a little bit different in Terrova. The heading sensor, or some people call it the puck. This is not something you would have had with the Terrova in years past. I don't know if this started in 17 or if now 2018 is the first year for this, but you do need to install the heading sensor. The key is, they say keep it away from anything metal. Aluminum on the boat won't hurt. Motor heads, stuff like that do. They suggest you keep it at least 2 feet away. My plan for myself is going to be back by my console, just back there where you sit and where your controls are to run the boat. I've got a flat surface up there where I can sit this, so I will put my heading sensor back there. The key to the heading sensor, it has an arrow on it. You want the arrow to point forward for the boat. The way the boat's going, the arrow should point forward. It needs to sit somewhere level, and that should be a good spot back there. Now, as I spoke with the people in Minn Kota, because I had a lot of questions before I started, it was suggested to me you will eventually have to pair up the heading sensor with the motor, on the head of the motor. This is basically a compass, is what it is. And then you have your GPS in here. So it's getting compass headings and your GPS work together. You'll have to pair these two up. So it was suggested to me from Minn Kota, put this where you want it, set it, get the arrow pointed the right direction, have everything set, and now go through the pairing procedure. You'll hook it up to 12-volt power. And I wondered, is it permanent? Is it all the time? Yeah, just hook it up to your battery. That's fine. It's not going to take any juice to speak of. So if it leaves on for a long period of time, it won't hurt. Set it in, hook it up to power, find out if it will pair up. Go through the pairing procedures. It's in the book. I know we hate instructions, but it's in the book. Go through the pairing procedure, make sure it'll pair up. You don't need to be outside, you don't need to be at the lake. I'm in a metal building, and I'm going to have no problem because you don't need GPS. You just want to pair these two features up. But the key is, pair it up before you attach it. Make sure it's actually going to work. Pick your spot, set it in, attempt to pair it up by the instructions. If it pairs up, then take a couple screws, mount it, and it's there permanently. So that was Minn Kota's suggestion. Make sure it'll pair up before you mount it. One other thing, the motor has to be in the vertical position before you pair it up. Don't try to pair it up horizontally, pair it up vertically. Again, that's what Minn Kota told me, but I didn't see it in the instructions anywhere. So that's step one. Once you've got the motor into place. All right, we've paired up the heading sensor and the motor. Now we need to calibrate. And for that, we're going to have to go to the lake. Only we're not going to the lake. It's 34 degrees outside and the wind's blowing. And I've watched videos of people calibrating this on the lake, and basically all you see is a guy going around in 2 circles and pushing buttons, and you can't see what he's doing anyway. You're going to need the book when you go out to the lake, so you know what buttons to push. And as I said, that's all calibration amounts to. Take the boat in 2 complete circles, and that'll calibrate. Then you do your offset. All the instructions are right here to do that. You're going to have to take that with you. At least I'm going to have to take that with me. That's something you can do at the lake. I wanted to cover a few things that I haven't seen other people talk about. One, when I pair it up and when I calibrate it, do I have to do that more often? No, it's a one-time deal, all right? Even if you take your heading sensor and it's hooked to the battery and it's on power 24 hours a day, always, but let's say you change your batteries, it goes without power, you do not need to pair it up again, you've done it once. You do not need to calibrate, you've done it once. So as long as this isn't moved and everything's the same, you don't have to do it again. You've done it once. That should be it. Watch the videos. Guys go to the lake. They got the gas motor and they're making the 2 circles. Well, some of my closer lakes and easier to get to are all electric. Can I use a trolling motor to make 2 circles? Yes, you can use your trolling motor to make the 2 circles. It doesn't make any difference. The next thing was, what works? If I put my boat in the water and put the trolling motor down, is it going to work if I haven't calibrated it? Yes. Almost everything works. Basically what I was told The calibration with the heading sensor is basically for the jog feature. All right, by that, if you're on spot lock and you'd like to move your boat just a few feet, you could hit a button and the jog feature will allow your boat to move over 5 feet. You can move 5 feet to the left, to the right, forwards, backwards, whatever. You want to move 10 feet, push the button twice, and your boat will move over 10 feet. The key to the jog feature is, and the key to the calibration of the heading sensor is, if your boat is pointed this way when you hit the button, you want it to be pointed this way when you moved over 10 feet. Calibration allows you to keep your boat in the same location because the heading sensor's over here, the motor's over here. It has the ability now to keep your boat pointing in the same direction. So 99% of the calibration, if not 100%, is the jog feature. I did not ask them about autopilot. In autopilot, you can push a button and your boat will follow a compass heading. Now, maybe that is affected by calibration, I don't know. I really didn't care. The only thing I wanted to know is when I put my boat in the water and I haven't calibrated it yet, is everything going to work? And yes, everything works except the jog feature and maybe autopilot, I don't know. But that's some of the stuff I wanted to cover that I don't see other people covering. I haven't seen anybody talk about this needs to be in the vertical position when you pair it up with the heading sensor. I haven't seen anybody talk about that, and I don't know, maybe it's in here and I didn't see it, but that's what Minn Kota told me. I didn't realize the trolling motor had to be deployed in order for it to work, even if the power's on. That was something I found out. I wasn't sure what worked and what didn't work if I hadn't calibrated. And would I have to do this more often, or is one time it? Those are a lot of the questions I had that I didn't see answered. Those are the things I wanted to answer here. I figure a lot of the other stuff, you can find it on yourself, you can find it in other videos, but I wanted to cover a few of the things that I hadn't seen covered. And I hope this covers it for you guys. I think I'm ready for it. I just need warm weather and a chance to put the boat in the water. Thanks for sticking with me, guys. Subscribe to our channel if you would. I hope to see you again real soon.